If your words were money, how rich would you be right now? Because every sentence you speak is a seed, and some seeds, when spoken daily, open doors to unstoppable wealth. There is a hidden law working behind every spoken word. Some call it coincidence. But those who know the power of divine decree understand words are forces. Every word you speak either commands abundance or delays it. Most people pray for money with worry still in their hearts, and so they cancel their own request. But when you speak in certainty, with the full authority of faith, the universe moves instantly. Stay with me until the end of this message, because I will reveal 10 sentences that, when spoken daily, can magnetize wealth faster than any effort or struggle. These are not affirmations, they are declarations of divine law. And once you speak them with belief, you will feel the vibration of prosperity surround you. The power of the spoken word is the foundation upon which every manifestation is built. Every word you utter is not merely sound, it is vibration, energy, and law in motion. When you speak, you command invisible forces to shape the visible. You may not see it, but with every phrase you release into the universe, a corresponding form begins to take shape. This is why it is said that words never die. They echo in the unseen realm, gathering substance until they find expression in your physical world. If your words are careless, they scatter your power. But if your words are aligned with faith, certainty, and divine law, they create an unbreakable current that leads you to abundance. Most people underestimate this power because they speak without awareness. They talk about what they lack, what they fear, and what they cannot do. They discuss poverty, complain about their bills, and wonder why money never stays. But what they fail to realize is that each of those statements is a decree. The universe listens without judgment. It does not question your intent. It simply obeys your vibration. When you say, "I never have enough," you are giving the universe a command to make that true. When you say, "Everything always works out for me," you are activating a truth that begins rearranging circumstances in your favor. The law is impersonal, and it always works. Whether you believe it or not, your words are creating your world. When you begin to truly understand this, you stop talking casually about your limitations. You stop entertaining conversations that diminish your worth. You become conscious of your speech, because you know that what you say today becomes your experience tomorrow. You begin to speak with intention, realizing that words are not cheap, they are investments, and every word you speak plants a seed in the garden of your life. If your words are filled with faith, gratitude, and expectation, you are planting golden seeds that will yield prosperity and peace. But if your words are filled with fear, anger, or resentment, you are planting weeds that choke your blessings before they can bloom. Every scripture, every spiritual teaching throughout the ages has emphasized this truth in its own way. The idea that, "in the beginning was the Word," is not only poetic, it is metaphysical fact. Creation itself began with a word, a vibration that brought light, form, and life into existence. That same power exists within you. The word you speak carries the same creative fire that spoke the universe into being. When you say, "I am wealthy," it is not a mere affirmation. It is a declaration that aligns you with the divine energy of wealth. The moment you speak it with faith, unseen forces begin to gather to fulfill that decree. But the spoken word must be charged with belief. Empty words have no life in them. You cannot simply repeat phrases you do not believe and expect results. The law of the spoken word responds to conviction, not repetition. It is the emotional vibration behind your words that gives them power. If you speak about wealth but secretly fear poverty, you are sending two conflicting signals to the universe, and the stronger one, usually fear, will dominate. That is why your inner state must match your spoken word. When you say, "I am prosperous," you must feel prosperity flowing through you. When you say, "Money comes easily to me," you must release the anxiety that blocks its flow. The feeling of certainty is the magnet that draws your words into manifestation. The power of speech is sacred, and it must be used with reverence. Every declaration, whether positive or negative, is a seed of creation. This is why silence is often more powerful than idle talk. If you cannot speak faith, remain silent until you can. When you are aware that your words hold the authority of law, you will no longer use them carelessly. You will no longer speak of lack, misfortune, or struggle as if they are permanent realities. You will speak of them only as passing illusions, temporary shadows before the dawn of your demonstration. To speak abundance in the face of lack, to declare success when appearances suggest failure. That is mastery. That is faith in action. Those who prosper effortlessly are not lucky, they are deliberate. They have learned the language of creation. They speak as if the universe were their ally. And it is. When they say, "I always receive what I need," they do not mean someday, they mean now. They speak in present tense, because they know divine supply exists in the eternal present. There is no delay in the realm of the spirit. The delay only exists in your own doubt. The moment your words and your belief are one, manifestation is instantaneous. The spoken word also carries frequency. Each word has its own vibration that resonates with corresponding forms in the universe. When you speak words of gratitude, you vibrate at the frequency of abundance. When you speak words of fear, you vibrate at the frequency of scarcity. The universe responds by matching your vibration, not your wish. So if you wish for wealth, but speak words of worry, you are aligned with lack, not with prosperity. The remedy is simply speak only what you desire to see, and refuse to give voice to anything that contradicts it. When doubt arises, speak faith louder. When fear whispers, answer it with truth. The word spoken in faith silences 1,000 fears. The power of your word is not limited by time, distance, or circumstance. It travels beyond the seen world, entering the realm where thoughts become form. Many have experienced sudden turns of fortune simply by changing their speech. They stopped saying, "I'm broke," and began saying, "I always have more than enough." They stopped saying, "Nothing ever works out for me," and began saying, "Everything unfolds perfectly in divine order." Within weeks, opportunities appeared, debts vanished, and new streams of income opened. This is not coincidence. It is the law of the spoken word fulfilling itself with mathematical precision. When you begin to consciously use this power, you realize that your tongue is a creative tool, not a weapon against yourself. You realize that every complaint, every word of doubt, delays your blessings, while every declaration of faith hastens them. You learn to bless your money, your work, and your circumstances. You learn to speak as a creator, not as a victim. You say, "This situation is turning in my favor," even when it looks hopeless, because you understand that the spoken word rearranges matter and magnetizes solutions. Speech, when guided by divine understanding, becomes the instrument of miracles. You no longer chase opportunities, they are drawn to you. You no longer beg for money. It appears naturally through channels you could not have planned. The difference lies in your consciousness and your conversation. You speak from the end result, not from the struggle. You declare what you wish to experience as though it already exists, because in truth, it does, in the unseen, waiting for your word to bring it into view. Every time you open your mouth, you are either creating or delaying your prosperity. This awareness transforms your daily life into a sacred practice. You begin to observe your words as if they were living entities. Because they are. They move out from you, carrying your intent, your faith, and your energy into the infinite field of creation. And that field, bound by divine law, must return to you the exact harvest of the seeds you have sown. This is why those who master their words master their world. They know that life does not respond to wishful thinking. It responds to declared truth. And once you speak that truth with unwavering faith, the universe must obey. Words are the blueprint of your destiny, and the vocabulary of lack is the language that locks the doors to abundance. The universe cannot bring you prosperity if your words continually affirm poverty, struggle, and fear. Many people pray for wealth while unconsciously cursing their finances through daily speech. They say things like, "I can't afford this," "Money just slips through my fingers," or "Nothing ever works out for me." Each of these sentences becomes a decree, an order sent into the invisible field of energy that shapes their reality. The divine law of expression does not discriminate. It simply returns to you what you send out. When your words are coated with doubt, you broadcast a vibration of limitation. When your words are drenched in faith, you announce your readiness to receive. The universe cannot fill a cup you keep declaring empty. Lack begins in thought, but it is made permanent through speech. What you speak repeatedly becomes the mold into which your life pours itself. Every time you declare that you are broke, you are engraving poverty into the fabric of your experience. Every time you say that life is hard, you are instructing the universe to make it so. Most people do not realize that words of lack are not harmless expressions, they are contracts. When you sign these contracts with emotion and repetition, you bind yourself to conditions you claim you wish to escape. But freedom begins with awareness. The moment you become aware of the power behind your speech, you can cancel every old decree of poverty and start speaking words that summon abundance instead. Removing words of lack does not mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to give energy to what you no longer wish to experience. There is a vast difference between observing your situation and reinforcing it. Saying, "I'm working toward financial balance," is different from saying, "I never have enough money." The first statement acknowledges progress and opens the way for improvement, while the second seals you into a vibration of deficiency. When you speak about your current lack as if it were permanent, you close the door to transformation. But when you speak about your desired state as though it is unfolding right now, you create momentum toward prosperity. To remove words of lack, you must first listen to yourself. Observe the way you talk about money, opportunity, and success. Notice the phrases you use automatically, those little expressions that seem casual but carry powerful energetic weight. Words like "too expensive," "not possible," "out of reach," and "I'm just unlucky" are subtle affirmations of scarcity. They keep your consciousness anchored in limitation. The first step to transforming your life is catching these phrases before they slip out, for awareness is the beginning of mastery. Once you notice them, you can consciously replace them with words that invite abundance instead of repel it. For example, instead of saying, "I can't afford this," you can say, "I'm choosing to wait for the perfect time to purchase this." Instead of, "Never have enough money," you can declare, "Money flows to me in perfect timing and perfect ways." Instead of, "Everything is getting worse," say, "Things are improving every day, ways I may not yet see." A different yours may appear subtle, but energetically it is profound. The former statements close the door, the latter open it. When your words are aligned with faith and expectancy, your energy shifts. You move from begging the universe to commanding it through your vibration. Removing words of lack also requires emotional discipline. It is not enough to change your vocabulary if your heart still trembles with fear. The emotion behind your words is what powers them. To speak wealth while feeling lack is like planting seeds in dry soil. Nothing can grow. That is why gratitude is such a powerful antidote. Gratitude softens the soil of the heart and makes your words fertile. When you begin to speak about what you already have with genuine appreciation, you elevate your vibration to the frequency of abundance. Gratitude turns "I need" into "I have," and the universe always mirrors that feeling with more to be grateful for. When you consistently remove words of lack, you begin to notice how people around you still use them. You will hear friends complaining about the cost of living, coworkers lamenting over bills, and relatives insisting that success is for others. Instead of joining them in that energy, you silently bless them and hold your vibration steady. Every time you refuse to participate in conversations of lack, you strengthen your magnetic field of abundance. The universe takes note of your new frequency and begins to align you with people, opportunities, and circumstances that match it. Prosperity is contagious, but so is poverty, and your speech determines which you spread. Another subtle form of lack hides behind humor and habit. Phrases like, "I'm always broke," said jokingly, or "I'm just unlucky with money," repeated in passing, may seem harmless, but the subconscious mind takes everything literally. It does not understand sarcasm. It records your words as truth and works tirelessly to make them real. This is why spiritual teachers insist on guarding your tongue. When you joke about poverty, you anchor it deeper. When you casually declare limitation, you train your subconscious to accept it as normal. The process of wealth consciousness requires you to become your own gatekeeper, to allow only words that uplift, affirm, and expand to pass your lips. As you remove words of lack, you will notice shifts in your environment. The people who used to echo your old patterns may drift away, replaced by those who speak life, success, and expansion. Your finances may begin to respond in small, unexpected ways. A refund here, a discount there, a new client or idea that opens the flow. These are signs that your vibration is changing. The law of attraction responds immediately when resistance is removed, and resistance often hides in the very words you use. The moment you stop affirming lack, you stop blocking abundance. It is also essential to watch the way you speak about others' success. Envy is another form of lack in disguise. When you see someone prospering and you say, "They're just lucky," or "They probably did something dishonest," you declare to the universe that success is not freely available. You affirm separation instead of unity. Instead, bless their prosperity and say, "What I admire in them is also available to me." By doing so, you align yourself with the same vibration that brought them abundance. Blessing others expands your own channel, while resentment tightens it. Eliminating words of lack is not an overnight task, it is a spiritual practice. It demands mindfulness, humility, and persistence. Some days, you will catch yourself mid-sentence, realizing you have slipped into the old pattern. In that moment, forgive yourself, correct your speech, and move forward. The universe does not punish mistakes, it responds to persistence. The more you practice speaking abundance, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, your entire consciousness shifts, and wealth begins to feel like your native language. Every time you refuse to give power to negative phrases, you reclaim authority over your world. You no longer let circumstances dictate your speech, you let your speech dictate your circumstances. You begin to speak from the end, from the reality you are creating, not the one you are escaping. You say, "I am prospering," even if your bank account is small, because you understand that the words must come before the form. The seed must be planted before the harvest appears. You continue to nurture that seed through consistent speech, gratitude, and expectancy until your outer life matches your inner declaration. To remove words of lack is to reprogram the language of your soul. It is to teach your subconscious that abundance is safe, natural, and constant. It is to retrain your tongue to speak only that which you wish to live. Every conversation becomes an act of creation, every statement a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your destiny. The old vocabulary of limitation fades away, replaced by the language of divine supply. A language that knows no shortage, no fear, no waiting. Only the eternal truth that everything you desire is already yours. Waiting for your words to call it forth. Confidence is the signal that the universe hears the loudest. Every desire, every intention, and every spoken word must carry the vibration of assurance if it is to manifest. The universe does not respond to need, it responds to certainty. Money, opportunity, and abundance are drawn to the person who speaks as though their wealth already exists, who walks as though doors are already open, and who acts as though divine supply is inevitable. The confident soul sends out a frequency that says, "I expect good," and life mirrors that expectation with precision. When you are uncertain, your energy becomes divided. One part asks while another part doubts. That division weakens the command, and the universe cannot act on a mixed signal. But when confidence saturates your words, you release a single, unwavering vibration, and creation obeys instantly. Confidence is not arrogance, it is spiritual alignment. It is the awareness that you are one with an infinite source that never fails. Arrogance says, "I am great on my own." Confidence says, "The divine power that created worlds flows through me." When you know that you are a channel of that divine energy, you no longer worry about outcomes. You speak boldly because you understand that you are backed by a law that never wavers. The universe is exact, it returns to you the vibration you radiate. If you radiate fear, you draw uncertainty. If you radiate confidence, you draw harmony and wealth. Those who lack confidence in their words may pray affirm, or visualize for years with little change. They speak words of abundance but lace them with hesitation. They say, "I hope this works," or "maybe one day I'll get lucky." Hope and maybe are the vocabulary of uncertainty. They create an energetic gap between your desire and its manifestation. Confidence, on the other hand, closes that gap. When you say, "I know it is done," you collapse time, you pull the future into the present moment. You begin to live as though your prayer has already been answered, and that state of being magnetizes the physical proof. Confidence is also magnetic because it communicates faith without words. People, opportunities, and resources are instinctively drawn to the person who carries assurance. You have seen this before. One person walks into a room with quiet certainty, and everyone turns to look. Their energy fills the space before they speak. That is not luck or charisma, it is resonance. Confidence amplifies your energy field and sends out a message that says, "I am safe to invest in. I am aligned with success." Money, being energy itself, gravitates to those who hold that vibration. It avoids those who speak of scarcity or insecurity. This is why two people with equal talent and effort can experience completely different results. One radiates confidence and draws abundance, while the other radiates doubt and repels it. Confidence is not born from circumstances, it is born from decision. You decide that you will no longer beg life to bless you. You will command blessings through faith. You decide that you will not allow appearances to shake your inner knowing. When things seem uncertain, you hold your posture, your voice, and your words steady. You say, "Everything is unfolding in perfect order," even when your senses scream otherwise. This steadfast attitude is what trains the universe to trust you with more. If your confidence collapses under pressure, the energy you send out becomes unstable. The universe mirrors that instability with delayed or scattered manifestations. But when you remain calm and certain even in lack, you demonstrate mastery. You show that your faith is not dependent on proof, it is the proof. Confidence grows stronger through repetition and discipline. Every time you act from faith instead of fear, your energetic foundation strengthens. Every time you speak boldly about your prosperity instead of your problems, you send a message to your subconscious that abundance is your natural state. The subconscious mind, once reprogrammed with confident language, becomes a tireless servant. It begins to expect good, anticipate miracles, and reject limitation. This inner shift changes everything: your tone of voice, your posture, your choices, even the way people treat you. The outer world starts reflecting the inner transformation. True confidence also requires surrender. You must trust that the universe is intelligent enough to handle the details once you have spoken your word. Many people sabotage their own manifestation by constantly checking if it's working. They plant the seed and then dig it up to see if it's growing. That is not confidence, that is doubt disguised as effort. The confident individual plants the seed of intention and walks away knowing it will bloom. They do not chase results, they attract them through their calm expectancy. They understand that impatience interrupts divine timing, while faith accelerates it. When you cultivate confidence, your relationship with money transforms completely. You stop chasing it, you start communing with it. You speak to money as an ally, not as a stranger. You say, "You love to be with me," and you feel it respond. This may sound poetic, but energy is responsive. Everything is consciousness, and money, being a form of energy, gravitates toward confident, appreciative stewards. It resists those who treat it with fear, guilt, or desperation. When you hold money loosely and speak to it lovingly, it feels welcomed and multiplies. Confidence in your worthiness to receive and hold wealth is the magnet that sustains prosperity. Confidence must also be reflected in your physical actions. Your speech alone cannot carry power if your actions contradict it. When you speak of abundance but act as though you are unworthy, the energy of your words is weakened. But when your gestures, tone, and choices align with your declarations, you create coherence, the purest signal of manifestation. Walk with assurance, dress with respect for yourself. Make decisions as someone who expects success, Every choice communicates to the universe what level of abundance you believe you deserve. Confidence is a living prayer, not just a mental affirmation. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen confidence is through gratitude in advance. When you give thanks before the manifestation appears, you demonstrate absolute trust in divine law. Gratitude in advance is an act of spiritual confidence that says, "I know it is done." It shifts your energy from waiting to receiving. It tells the universe that you are already aligned with the outcome. Every day, speak your gratitude as if your desire has already materialized. I am so thankful for the new streams of income flowing to me now. I am so grateful for the opportunities that multiply effortlessly. These words seal your confidence and set the law in motion. Confidence is not loud, it is calm. It does not need to convince or prove, it simply knows. When you truly know that wealth belongs to you by divine right, you stop competing, comparing, or worrying. You no longer wonder if it will come. You only wonder how beautifully it will arrive. This inner peace is what allows miracles to unfold without resistance. Confidence turns manifestation from struggle into flow. You stop forcing outcomes and begin allowing them. Confidence also dissolves fear of failure. Those who fear failure do not yet understand the law. Every seeming delay or detour is simply the universe rearranging things for your benefit. The confident person interprets every obstacle as a sign of movement, not a stop. They bless challenges, knowing that divine order is still at work. This mindset keeps the energy open and fluid, while fear of failure closes it. When you are confident, even setbacks serve you. They refine your clarity and prepare you for greater success. You can cultivate confidence by surrounding yourself with affirmations and reminders of your divine partnership with the universe. Speak to yourself daily. I am guided by infinite wisdom. Everything I touch prospers. I walk in divine favor. These statements are not empty repetition, they are vibrational tuning. They remind your mind to stay in harmony with the truth of your spiritual inheritance. Each time you repeat them with emotion and conviction, your frequency rises and your magnetic power strengthens. Confidence is faith made visible. It is the calm assurance that every word spoken in alignment with divine truth must manifest. When you speak with confidence, you are not asking life to bless you. You are authorizing it to reveal what is already yours. Every declaration becomes a decree, and every decree is carried by the unseen forces that govern abundance. Confidence turns ordinary speech into creation, ordinary thoughts into miracles, and ordinary people into channels of divine prosperity. There are certain words that carry a vibration so powerful that when spoken with belief, they realign your entire energy field to the frequency of wealth. These 10 sentences are not just affirmations to be repeated mindlessly. They are living decrees that awaken divine law within you. Each sentence is a key designed to unlock a different aspect of abundance: self-worth, receptivity, gratitude, and flow. When spoken with awareness, they begin to reprogram your subconscious mind, dissolve patterns of lack, and open unseen channels through which money can find you. Words are creative currents, and these 10 sentences are like clear, focused streams guiding energy toward the manifestation of prosperity. The first sentence, "Money loves me and finds me in miraculous ways," establishes a new relationship between you and the energy of money. Most people chase money, fear money, or resent money. They treat it as something outside of themselves, difficult to attain and harder to keep. But this declaration transforms that dynamic. It teaches you to view money as a friend, a living energy that responds to affection and respect. When you say, "Money loves me," you dissolve guilt and fear around wealth. You send a message to your subconscious that money is not your enemy, it is your ally. When you add, "and finds me in miraculous ways," you allow the universe to choose the channels. You no longer limit abundance to your job, your salary, or your clients. You open yourself to unexpected blessings. The second sentence, "After I am aligned with the vibration of unlimited wealth," places your consciousness in harmony with the frequency of abundance. Everything in the universe vibrates, including money, and wealth has its own energetic signature. When your thoughts, emotions, and speech resonate with that frequency, You attract it effortlessly. This declaration is a reminder that wealth is not something you pursue, it is something you align with. As you say it daily, you begin to notice your inner state shift. Your worries soften, your confidence strengthens, and your awareness of opportunities heightens. The outer world starts reflecting the new inner vibration. You find yourself making decisions from a place of security rather than fear. The third sentence, every dollar I spend returns multiplied, transforms spending into an act of circulation rather than loss. Fearful people hoard money, thinking that withholding will protect them. But stagnation blocks flow. The law of circulation states that whatever you release with love must return multiplied. When you speak this sentence, you affirm that giving and receiving are the same motion. You stop viewing expenses as burdens and start seeing them as investments into the cycle of divine supply. This shift in consciousness removes anxiety around bills and obligations because you trust that every outgoing amount is planting a seed for future harvest. Money begins to flow with ease because you have removed resistance from its natural rhythm. The fourth sentence, the universe delights in prospering me, removes the subconscious belief that life is indifferent or harsh. Many people carry the hidden assumption that they must struggle to survive, that blessings come only through suffering. But divine law operates on joy, not sacrifice. When you declare that the universe delights in prospering you, you align with the truth that abundance is not a reward for effort. It is the natural state of harmony. This statement fills your heart with gratitude and lightness. You begin to expect good without guilt. You walk through the day aware that unseen forces are conspiring in your favor. The universe indeed delights in prospering those who delight in its goodness. The fifth sentence, I am worthy of overflowing abundance, addresses the core wound that blocks prosperity for most people, unworthiness. You cannot receive what you secretly believe you do not deserve. Many have been conditioned from childhood to associate wealth with greed, selfishness, or guilt. They subconsciously reject abundance because they feel unworthy of ease and comfort. This sentence heals that illusion. Each time you say it, you remind your subconscious that worthiness is not something you earn, it is your divine inheritance. You begin to accept blessings without apology, to receive gifts without resistance. As your sense of worth expands, so does your capacity to receive. The sixth sentence, riches flow to me from expected and unexpected sources, teaches you to trust divine timing and creativity. Most people limit their prosperity by insisting it must come from one channel, a job, a client, a deal. But the universe is infinite in its methods. When you speak this declaration, you release control and allow wealth to come from anywhere. A forgotten refund, a new partnership, a chance encounter, or a sudden idea can become the vessel for abundance. This statement makes you receptive to miracles because you no longer dictate the path, you trust the process. When your faith is open, the flow of riches expands beyond imagination. The seventh sentence, if I live in the rhythm of divine supply, harmonizes your actions with universal timing. Every aspect of nature follows rhythm. Tides, seasons, and growth. Abundance also has a rhythm. When you live in the rhythm of divine supply, you stop forcing outcomes. You act when inspired and rest when guided. You no longer panic when one door closes because you understand another is opening. This state of trust brings balance, peace, and consistent prosperity. The anxiety of not enough disappears because you know that divine supply never runs out, it only flows in cycles of perfect order. The eighth sentence, my spoken word opens golden doors, reinforces the creative authority of your speech. It reminds you that the universe responds to vibration, and your words are your strongest instruments. Each time you speak in faith, you open new possibilities. When you say this sentence, you infuse your speech with purpose. You stop gossiping, complaining, or doubting because you realize that every utterance carries power. You speak consciously, blessing your finances, your relationships, and your endeavors. You understand that you do not need to knock on closed doors. Your word itself is the key that unlocks them. The ninth sentence, prosperity is my divine right, is a declaration of identity. It moves wealth from the realm of desire to the realm of truth. You are not asking for abundance as a favor. You are claiming what already belongs to you by the law of divine inheritance. Poverty is not spiritual humility. It is a misunderstanding of your true nature. When you repeat this sentence, you affirm that abundance is as natural to you as breath. You dissolve guilt and replace it with confidence. This understanding frees you from comparison or competition. You realize that your prosperity does not take from anyone else. The universe is infinite, and your wealth expands the collective good. The 10th sentence, "Today I receive more than I can imagine," invites the energy of surprise and expansion. It shifts your focus from hoping for small blessings to expecting overflow. The word, today, anchors the declaration in the present moment, signaling that manifestation does not belong to the distant future. The phrase, "more than I can imagine," releases the limits of your mind and allows divine intelligence to exceed your expectations. When you speak this sentence, you open yourself to effortless increase. You stop calculating how your blessings will come and begin to enjoy the wonder of being provided for in magnificent ways. Each of these sentences serves a distinct purpose, but together they create a complete circuit of prosperity. They harmonize your thoughts, emotions, and actions with divine flow. The repetition of these statements imprints new beliefs upon your subconscious mind, gradually erasing the old programming of lack. Consistency is the key. The power of these words grows through use. Spoken once, they plant a seed. Spoken daily with faith, they become law in your world. It is not the mere act of saying the words that changes your life. It is the feeling they generate. As you speak them, close your eyes and imagine the truth of each statement vibrating through your being. Feel the joy of money finding you effortlessly. Feel the peace of being aligned with infinite supply. Feel the gratitude of already having more than enough. These emotions are the magnetic currents that draw abundance toward you. When your heart and your words unite in faith, manifestation is inevitable. Over time, you begin to notice that your outer circumstances rearrange themselves to match your new declarations. Synchronicities appear. People who once ignored you now offer opportunities. Delays dissolve, bills are paid with ease. Your energy field becomes so magnetic that you no longer chase money. Money chases you. These 10 sentences become the pillars of your prosperity consciousness, the sacred vocabulary through which you communicate with divine supply. When spoken with unwavering faith, they awaken the eternal truth that abundance has always been waiting for your word. To call it forth, gratitude is the language of abundance. It is not merely a polite expression of thanks, it is the vibration that multiplies every good thing in your life. When you give thanks sincerely, you align yourself with divine law, because gratitude acknowledges that the gift already exists in the unseen. It declares that you are already supplied, already blessed, already connected to the infinite source that provides for all. The ungrateful heart blocks the flow of prosperity because it focuses on absence, but the grateful heart opens the floodgates because it focuses on presence. Gratitude does not wait for visible proof. It gives thanks before the manifestation appears, and in doing so, it becomes the creative force that draws the unseen into form. Every time you express gratitude, you confirm your faith. Faith is invisible until it is demonstrated, and gratitude is that demonstration. It says to the universe, "I trust that what I desire is already mine." This vibration of trust is irresistible to divine law, for the universe always matches your internal state. If you feel lack, it brings more situations to confirm that feeling. If you feel gratitude, it multiplies what you have. That is why those who complain remain in struggle, while those who bless even small things rise effortlessly. Gratitude transforms perception. It teaches your mind to recognize good where others see nothing, and that recognition becomes expansion. Gratitude is also a magnetic frequency. When you thank the universe for your blessings, you attune yourself to the vibration of abundance, and that frequency attracts more of the same. You begin to draw to you people, opportunities, and resources that resonate with that higher vibration. You become a magnet for increase because your energy field radiates harmony instead of resistance. Every grateful thought is an act of creation. Every word of thanks a spark that calls forth more light. Those who live in constant gratitude live in constant supply because they are always tuned to receive. The absence of gratitude, on the other hand, creates stagnation. When you fail to appreciate what you have, you signal to the universe that you do not value it, and what you do not value must leave to find appreciation elsewhere. Gratitude keeps the flow alive. It keeps energy moving, circulating, and renewing itself. When you say, "Thank you for what I have," you release the fear of loss and invite multiplication. Fear tightens the channel through which blessings flow, while gratitude widens it. Even when circumstances seem difficult, the simple act of finding one thing to be thankful for changes the energy of your entire situation. To use gratitude as a multiplier, you must cultivate it deliberately. Begin each morning by listing 3 things you are thankful for, not as an obligation but as a sacred practice. Let those feelings of appreciation expand in your heart until they color your entire consciousness. Thank your home, your body, your breath, your work, the money you already have, even if it is small. Gratitude is not about quantity, it is about recognition. When you recognize good, you amplify it. As you move through the day, silently thank every moment. The smile of a stranger, the sunlight, the food you eat. Gratitude turns ordinary life into a stream of miracles because it keeps you aware of divine presence in everything. When you receive money, no matter how little, bless it, hold it in your hand and say, "I am grateful for this money, and it returns to me multiplied." This simple ritual transforms money from paper into energy. It creates a spiritual partnership between you and the universe. You acknowledge that the money is not the source, but the messenger of divine supply. That recognition keeps you detached from fear and rooted in trust. The more you bless your money, the more reasons you will have to bless it again. The vibration of gratitude sends a clear message to the universe. I am ready for more. A gratitude is also a powerful cleanser of the subconscious mind. Many people carry emotional blocks about wealth, guilt, shame, resentment, or fear. These emotions create inner resistance that repels abundance. Gratitude dissolves them gently. You cannot feel resentment and gratitude at the same time. One displaces the other. Each time you choose gratitude, you rewrite your subconscious pattern. You move from "I don't have enough" to "I am supported at every moment." Over time, gratitude becomes your default state, and abundance flows to you as naturally as breathing. When you practice gratitude consistently, you begin to notice synchronicities. Small, meaningful coincidences that show divine order at work. A delayed payment suddenly arrives. A new client calls out of nowhere. A friend offers help just when you need it. These are not random, they are reflections of your new vibration. Gratitude puts you in harmony with the flow of good, and in that flow, everything aligns effortlessly. Life becomes a dance between giving and receiving, where each act of thanks becomes a new step forward in prosperity. True gratitude is unconditional. It does not depend on everything being perfect. It gives thanks even for challenges, for they carry lessons that refine your faith. When you can say, "Thank you, even for this," you have mastered the art of manifestation. You have learned to see divine intelligence in every circumstance. Gratitude turns pain into wisdom, delay into preparation, and loss into renewal. When you thank the storm becomes the wind that carries you to greater shores. The person who lives in gratitude never truly suffers loss. Because they find the seed of blessing in every experience, there is also creative power in expressing gratitude aloud. The spoken word amplifies your energy. When you say, "I am so grateful for the abundance in my life," you send that vibration into the universe like a wave of light. The sound of your voice carries emotion and intention, making gratitude tangible. Whispering thanks before you sleep or upon waking sets the tone for your entire energy field. It imprints your day with positivity and peace. The universe hears the tone of your words more than the words themselves. Speak them with sincerity, and they will echo back as tangible blessings. To sustain gratitude, you must also avoid the habit of comparison. Nothing blocks thankfulness faster than measuring your life against others. Comparison breeds envy, and envy is the shadow of lack. When you see someone prospering, bless them. Say, "Thank you, universe, for showing me what is possible. Gratitude for another's success expands your own potential because it keeps your vibration high. What you bless in others, you invite into your own life. In the same way, gratitude toward yourself magnifies your inner worth. When you thank yourself for your growth, your resilience, and your effort, you reinforce the belief that you are deserving of good things. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is an action. It expresses itself through generosity. When you feel truly abundant, you naturally want to share. Giving becomes an extension of gratitude. It says, I have enough to give, and more is on the way. This act keeps the circulation of wealth alive. Whether you give money, time, kindness, or encouragement, you are participating in the rhythm of divine supply. Gratitude and giving are two sides of the same coin. One receives, the other releases, and together they sustain the current of prosperity. As your gratitude deepens, it begins to transform your physical energy as well. You feel lighter, calmer, and more vibrant. The body responds to appreciation with vitality because it thrives on harmony. Even your surroundings shift. Spaces you once took for granted begin to feel more alive. Gratitude clears clutter not just in the mind but in the environment. It organizes your energy into order, reflecting that inner alignment outwardly. You find yourself attracting people and experiences that reflect your elevated state. The more grateful you become, the more graceful life feels. Each word of gratitude carries a spiritual charge that resonates beyond time and space. When you thank the universe, your vibration ripples outward, touching unseen dimensions that rearrange circumstances on your behalf. Gratitude does not beg, it commands through joy. It tells the universe, I already have everything I need, and therefore I am ready for more. This consciousness of completeness is the secret to abundance. Lack says, I need more to be happy. Gratitude says, I am happy, and therefore more comes. One contracts, the other expands. Gratitude expands endlessly because it aligns with the very heartbeat of creation. Gratitude is the golden bridge between desire and manifestation. It turns wishing into knowing, hoping into receiving, and struggle into ease. When you speak your gratitude daily, you keep your energy tuned to divine order. You live in a constant awareness that everything, even the smallest breath, is a gift from an infinite source that never runs dry. In this state, you no longer chase blessings, you recognize that they were surrounding you all along, waiting for your thankful heart to call them into view. Wealth that comes suddenly can vanish just as quickly if the foundation beneath it is not faith. Faith is the steady flame that sustains prosperity long after the initial spark of manifestation has appeared. Without faith, people fall back into fear the moment conditions change, and their words, once powerful, become diluted by doubt. True abundance requires inner stability. It requires a consciousness so deeply anchored in divine law that no circumstance can shake it. The one who sustains wealth is not necessarily the one who works hardest or knows the most. It is the one who maintains unwavering faith that supply is endless and always present. Faith is the invisible thread connecting you to your source. It is the awareness that no matter how your outer world fluctuates, the inner supply remains constant. Most people lose their abundance because they begin to worship the outer form of wealth. The job, the bank account, the business, and forget the source from which it came. They mistake the channel for the source. When that channel changes or closes, fear enters, and their vibration collapses. Faith keeps you centered in truth. It reminds you that divine supply is not dependent on any single avenue. If one channel closes, another must open, for the law of abundance cannot be broken. Maintaining faith means training your mind to remain calm, even when appearances seem contrary to your desire. Appearances are temporary reflections of old beliefs, and if you react to them, you reinforce the very vibration you wish to change. The secret to sustaining wealth lies in your ability to see beyond appearances. When you see a temporary setback, you remind yourself that divine order is working in ways unseen. You speak words of trust instead of fear. You say, all my needs are met in perfect timing, and that confidence stabilizes your vibration. The moment you stop feeding energy to worry, the law of supply restores balance. Faith must be lived, not spoken only. To sustain abundance, you must embody faith in your choices, your actions, and your emotions. Acting in faith means continuing to give, invest, and expand even when the mind whispers caution born from fear. It does not mean being reckless. It means moving with spiritual assurance that your supply is infinite. Those who cling tightly to money out of fear of losing it often find it slipping away faster, while those who circulate it with gratitude and trust experience continual increase. Faith teaches you that what you release in love returns multiplied, while what you hold in fear shrinks. The practice of faith begins each morning before the world begins to test you. The moment you wake, affirm that you are provided for. Say within yourself, "Today I am guided, guarded, and supplied." As you move through the day, act as though this is already true. If a bill arrives, bless it. Say, "The divine source that sustains the universe easily meets this demand." If an opportunity appears uncertain, declare that it will unfold in perfect order. Each of these responses reaffirms your faith and prevents fear from taking root. The outer world bends to the steadiness of your inner conviction. Faith also protects you from the illusion of loss. In truth, nothing is ever lost in divine order. Energy only changes form. Money spent returns as new opportunity. Time invested returns as wisdom. Love given returns as greater joy. When you live by faith, you stop grieving what leaves because you understand that it is making space for something greater. This is how sustained prosperity feels. Peaceful, unhurried, and generous. You know that divine supply cannot be diminished, it only transforms. Fear of loss is the shadow of forgetfulness, but remembrance of divine law restores peace instantly. Faith grows stronger through testing. Every time you face a challenge and choose to respond with trust instead of panic, your spiritual muscles strengthen. Each trial becomes proof that divine law works unfailingly. When you recall how previous difficulties resolved themselves at the perfect time, you begin to see a pattern, the hand of divine intelligence guiding you always. This recognition deepens your faith until it becomes unshakable. Then, even when storms arise, you stand firm, saying, "This too shall pass, and something greater will emerge." Such steadfastness turns temporary crises into gateways for expansion. Those who sustain wealth understand that it is not something to control, but something to flow with. Faith transforms ownership into stewardship. You stop saying, "This is my money," and start saying, "This is divine supply flowing through me." This subtle shift frees you from the anxiety of possession. You become a channel rather than a container. Channels never run dry because they are connected to the source. Containers once full can overflow and empty, but channels are replenished continuously. Faith keeps you in that flow, humble yet powerful, because you recognize that divine abundance uses you as an instrument to circulate good in the world. Faith also refines your relationship with time. Many people lose patience when manifestations take longer than expected, forgetting that divine timing is always perfect. When you have faith, waiting becomes peace instead of anxiety. You trust that the delay is preparation, unseen forces aligning to bring about the best outcome. Impatience blocks the flow because it signals doubt. Faith, on the other hand, communicates certainty. It says, "I may not see it yet, but it is already on its way." This calm assurance shortens the waiting period, because the universe responds faster to unwavering energy. Faith is also the antidote to fear of change. Life is movement, and every new level of prosperity requires expansion beyond the familiar. Without faith, expansion feels threatening. With faith, it feels exhilarating. You recognize that every change is a divine invitation to grow into greater expression. The same faith that brought your first manifestation will sustain the next one, and the next, without end. Each cycle of abundance prepares you for a larger flow, and faith is what keeps that flow steady instead of erratic. Sustaining wealth also requires faith in your own worthiness. Many people receive blessings but soon sabotage them because they secretly believe they do not deserve to keep them. They fear that abundance will attract envy or judgment, or that they are not wise enough to handle it. Faith dissolves those doubts by anchoring your identity in divine truth. You remember that you are a child of infinite intelligence, worthy of every good thing. You trust that the same wisdom that gave you wealth also gives you the ability to manage it. This quiet assurance protects your prosperity better than any external security measure could. Faith brings order to thought and emotion. It disciplines the mind to focus only on what it desires to expand. When you catch yourself worrying, you replace the thought with a declaration of truth. I live in divine abundance, and all is well. You repeat this until peace returns. This practice keeps your vibration consistent. Wealth can only remain where peace resides. Turbulent emotions repel it, while calm confidence attracts it. The law of correspondence ensures that your outer wealth mirrors your inner state. Faith creates the inner stability that guarantees outer continuity. Even in times of great success, faith keeps you humble and grateful. It reminds you that the source of your prosperity is not luck, talent, or circumstance, but divine intelligence expressing through you. This remembrance prevents pride, which often precedes downfall. Pride isolates, faith connects. Pride says, I did this by myself. Faith says, I am guided by a power greater than myself. By staying connected to this truth, you remain open to continual increase. Faith sustains wealth not by magic but by consciousness. It transforms prosperity from something you possess into something you are. The person of faith no longer wakes each morning wondering if abundance will last. They know it cannot be lost because it is part of their being. Their speech, their thoughts, their actions all radiate stability. Even when outer forms shift, a market changes, a business transitions, their peace remains untouched. That peace itself becomes a magnet for new supply. Faith is the bridge between manifestation and maintenance. It is the silent agreement between you and the universe that says, I will not waver. Once you have declared your word and received your blessing, faith becomes the guardian that protects it. It prevents you from slipping back into doubt, from undoing your decree through worry or fear. It holds you steady in the vibration of abundance until it becomes your permanent state. Those who master faith live in effortless continuity of good. They no longer wonder when the next blessing will come, for they understand that blessings never cease. Only belief does. Faith restores that belief and keeps the river of prosperity flowing without interruption.